Doctors don't always get it right. Sounds like a controversial statement. It's what I discovered nearly 20 years ago when I was diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months to live if I did nothing medically. I did nothing medically, embarked on a holistic healing journey, and voila, 20 years later, I'm still here, kicking and screaming. And I have several experiences actually involving doctors, another key life affirming, life threatening situation also. And in some ways, I have the medical profession to thank for where I am, because it was because that care, especially with the first issue, my first near-death experience, because I've had two, which was with menstrual hemorrhaging. And it was because of the lack of care and attention in that situation that it threw me down the holistic path, which, as fortune, destiny, whatever you want to call it, would have it, was where I needed to be when I got the next piece. So I've had a life that has been very much about health. Now, this is not to say I'm not here to rubbish the medical profession. That is different strokes for different folks at different points in different lives, and each to their own. And other opinions are available. But this is my story, and this is what's shaped my world. It's shaped my work. So this is what I know can work, and it's important to understand that. One of the things I came up against with the medical profession was there was no other option. There was no other viewpoint. There was no integration. There was no consideration for not being right and there being another way. And what I think happens to a lot of people in that situation, particularly with something like cancer, it's a big word, it's a big diagnosis, or it can be, and people automatically give up their seniority and their certainty to somebody who has more scientific knowledge, rather than relying on their own instincts. And I chose to rely on my own instincts. I had very skilled and schooled doctors that gave me the diagnosis, and I made the personal choice not to listen, and embarked on my own healing journey, which started off with a week of meditation, not talking to anyone within the family, with the doctors, and coming out of that space. It was sort of like an incubation for a week of realizing I needed to take a different path, that having the recommendations that they were suggesting was not the right path for me. And people have said to me since, wow, that's so courageous. But honestly, it was just something I knew I needed to do. I allowed the space for myself, my soul, to come out, to be greater, for me to hear that inner wisdom. And that inner wisdom said to me, this is not your path. And I realized, I was in the States at the time, and I realized I needed to go back to the UK and embark on a healing journey. And I didn't know what that would look like at that point. The reason I bring this up is because I am on a mission in life to give women their power back, to help them find their power, to help them listen to their bodies and their body's wisdom, because we have wisdom in our bodies. We just don't listen. We spend our time, this is going to sound ironic as I'm beaming live onto social media, but we spend our time filling our heads full of social media, the newspapers, other people's opinions and ideas. And the last thing we do is sit down and tune into our own body wisdom. And that is exactly what I did when I had cancer. I went, talk to the hand, I'm going to listen to me. It might be right, it might not be right. We'll find out. And I really didn't know at that point. I really didn't know. I didn't embark on the path knowing I was going to heal. I embarked on the path thinking this is either going to work or it's not. And I will be here or I won't. But I'm going to put myself in, I'm going to say God's hands, but you could call it the divine higher self. That energy has many names. I don't like to get stuck on the labels of all of that. What I really want to do is help people connect with themselves and their bodies and learn how to listen and respond and take action on what they're sensing from within. Because I think there's so much out there, both in the holistic and conventional medicine, that has you looking outside of yourself. So when I work with people, I'm very much creating a container and holding space for people to really tune in. And often when I do my spiritual coaching and healing work, a lot of people say, oh yes, I kind of thought that, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, I sensed that. So it confirms what they were already thinking. And that confirmation gives them confidence to then take the next step. And then from that confidence, they start to listen more deeply. They tune into their own intuition. They tune into their body. They don't override. You know, we are taught, we live in the Western world, we're taught to override. It's all about consuming and doing. And, you know, we are not taught how to tune in and listen. And that was one of the, I would say that's probably the biggest thing I learned from having cancer was listen to your body. It's the only one you've got. So, yes, soul is eternal. There is a part of us, the intangible part of us that goes on, but the skin that we live in, we get one life in. So we want to make it the best life that we can, is how I feel. And that's not always a straightforward path. And when you start to wake up to that and embark on that, it's not straightforward. It certainly wasn't for me. And it continues to be a path that's ever unfolding and evolving. I don't have all the answers. They unfold as I go. I make mistakes like everyone else. I'm human. I learn, I pick myself up and I move on. And then I take what I learn and I go and work with the wonderful women that I work with, whether it's through movement, dance and fitness, or whether it's in spiritual coaching and healing. And my creation, which is designed to support people coming out of trauma, coming through trauma or health crisis, supercharge your life, which is where we examine 6 major areas, or as I like to call them, magic modules: movement, mindset, meditation and energy work, mood, your emotions, meals, what you're eating, and me time, which is your self-care. And I believe that these 6 magic modules underpin, I almost said undermine, underpin our health and well-being. And so when we look at those and we strip them back and we rebuild where necessary, which is exactly what I did, was rewire. Actually, I ripped the floorboards up of who I thought I was and rewired. That's when we can really start to create fundamental well-being, create that base level of healing from which to move from. And I believe it's possible for anyone at any point in time to do that. It doesn't mean it's necessarily easy, but I believe it's possible. And I've lived through 2 near-death experiences where I've done that. So I know it can work. So if you're intrigued by Supercharge Your Life, private message me the word super, and we can chat more about it. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye.